Hello, this is Instructor Williams, and I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Antioch Public Library District to this basic tutorial on Excel 2016. Here's what we will be looking at this tutorial. Setting a workspace, formatting data with bold, adding borders, cell alignment, cutting, copying, and pasting, modifying rows and columns, inserting and deleting columns and rows, and merging and centering cells. The first thing I'm going to do is open up an existing workbook in my file directory. So I'm going to choose my folder, Microsoft Excel, and I'm going to come down here and choose monthly budget. Then we're going to come up here to the File tab and choose Open. And we're going to open up another workbook by going down to Browse and going into Excel 2010, the basics, and choosing Basic Sort. We're going to be working with these two documents for the remainder of this course. So let me jump back to the monthly budget workbook and let's get started. Setting up a workspace. The first thing I'm going to do here is highlight all the information for September through December. And then we're going to copy and paste it a little bit further down to give us a different space to work with. And then we're going to fill in some data in the fixed expenses category. So we're going to fill this row out with 550, 550, 550, 550. The next row we're going to fill it out with 101, 101, 101, 101. And so forth. Formatting data, bold. To display the bold function, we're going to concentrate on column A that has all of the itemized expenses. So we're going to highlight everything, come up under the font area and just simply click the B, which means bold. Then we're going to switch over to the month rows, highlight that, click B, and now we have the itemized list and the row of the months bolded. Adding borders. If we want to add borders around a cluster of data to make it more visually distinctive, then we highlight the area of cells that we want to add a border. We come to the font group, click the 4 square icon, the arrow next to it, and then we select the type of borders we want. I'm going to choose the thick outside border, and voila! All of my information is wrapped up in a nice thick border. Cell alignment. We have the option to choose how the data is aligned in the cells. We find it here in the alignment group where we can choose how the data is laid out. So I'm going to highlight the information here and I'm going to choose center. And you can see all the numbers and all of the names of the month aligned to center. This top area deals with vertical alignment. The cells are too short right now to show that. In addition to aligning cells in mass, we can also choose to select certain cells that we want to align by using the Control key on the keyboard and left-clicking on the mouse, like I'm doing here. And then all of these highlighted areas will be aligned when I come up here and click on center. And now you can see all of the subheadings for my itemized lists being centered, and all of the cells in between them are still left justified. When dealing with currency, you want the numbers to be right justified. So I'm going to highlight these currency numbers again and right justify them. Cut and paste and copy and paste. Cutting and pasting is where we remove data from one cell and we place it into another cell. So we're going to practice cutting and pasting by selecting B7. And I'm going to come up here into the clipboard group and hit the pair of scissors. It says cut, and you can see the dancing ants around it, or the marquee. I'm going to come over here to P7, come over here to paste, and you can see the data has moved to P7 and it's no longer in B7. Now we're going to take the data from C7, come up here to copy. You can see the dancing ants or the marquee again, and we're going to paste that into B7. And we see that it duplicates the data. It doesn't move the data from one place to another. Another way that we can copy and paste is by using the right click button on our mouse. So I can come here to E7, right click and click copy, come over here to Q7, right click and hit paste, and the information is duplicated. I can do the same thing here in R7, can paste it, and I can hit escape to remove the highlighted area. Modifying rows and columns. In this section, I am going to show you how you can heighten rows and widen columns. Our first example will be to widen column A. So I'm going to highlight this column to show which one we're working with. We want to get our cursor right on the line between A and B, left click and drag it over to the right a little bit, and you can see that we widened the column. Now I'm going to highlight columns P through S, and we can widen all of these together at the same time. Once they're highlighted, I'm going to drag it over to the right, and we can see that all four of them have widened the same rate. And we can do the same thing with rows by making them higher. So if we highlighted rows 2 through 26, we can click on the line beneath 26 and drag it down to widen it, and we see all of the highlighted rows being widened at the same rate. Now I'm going to take a second to look at my document and see if I need to do any other tweaks with column and row adjustments, and I see that I want to adjust column C to be a little bit wider to fit February in the box a little bit better. So I'm going to highlight C, drag it over to the right just a bit, and now February fits nicely inside C2. Inserting and deleting columns and rows. Excel gives us the ability to insert columns and rows in between pre-existing ones under the cell function, where we have insert, delete, and format. I'm going to show how to do this by highlighting row 4 and coming over to the cells group and clicking insert. You can see all of the rows move down one and a new row appears on row 4. You'll want to make sure that you have selected the entire row and not just a cell, because if you do, just that part of the cell will move down, the rest of the row will not, and it can mess up your alignment of data, as we can see that I've just done here. So I'm going to repair that misalignment by using the delete button under the cell group by clicking on the blank cells that I need to remove and clicking delete. I come up to A20, click delete, A12, click delete, and now everything is aligned as it was. And here are a few examples of cell insertion and cell deletion. We can also insert and delete columns like we did with the rows. So if I choose column C here, I can come over and insert. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this for columns E and G. And I go back up to my cell group and click insert, and columns are inserted in there. And I can also add and delete multiple columns and or rows with clicking on column letters that I want to remove and clicking delete, and they will all delete at the same time, like I just did with the columns separating August and September. Merging and centering cells. In this exercise, we're going to look at how to merge a group of cells together into one point and then centering the data within that cell. In this example, I am going to take the cells A1 through M1 and merge them together and center the data. So the first thing I need to do is highlight A1 through M1, go up to the alignment group and click the merge and center button, and we see all the information from A1 now merged and centered in all of them. You can adjust the height to make it a little bit more visually distinctive, and I have successfully merged and centered the data. So here is a summary of today's Excel 2016 Basics formatting. Today we looked at setting a workspace, formatting data in bold, adding borders, cell alignment, cutting, copying, and pasting, modifying rows and columns, inserting and deleting columns and rows, and merging and centering cells. Once again, this is Instructor Williams, and I would like to thank you on behalf of the Antioch Public Library District. For more technology-related classes and other library programs, please be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel.